Hi, I'm CJ Elmer with Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Fredrick, Colorado. So we've got a special one to show you today. This is a 2025 Cimarron Norstar 4-horse with air ride. Now, this is a demo trailer, very lightly used. We're gonna walk you through it. So the one good thing is, with it being a demo it means there's a lot of savings for you. So let's start walking through this trailer. Before we do that, we'll take a look at the drawing. I'll show you some specs on this guy. So 4-horse with a front tack, big front tack room on this guy. It is a 6'9" short wall with a 4-foot offset. That means it's a 10'9" long wall. This trailer is 7'6" wide. It is extra tall as well, 7'4" tall, 25 foot on the floor. So that gives you a good idea. This is still a very manageable trailer to get around with it only being 25 foot on the floor. Well, let's start walking you through this trailer, showing you all the cool features on this trailer itself. Cimarron is all aluminum construction. You are still gonna get the 8-year structure warranty, 3-year hardware warranty on this trailer from the date you purchase it. Even though it's a demo, again, lightly used, what we do is we bring the trailers into the shop, look them over. These air ride trailers get aligned, and we again assess everything when it comes back in. So, probably looking at it, you're gonna notice the very first thing is this V-nose. It's not your standard nose on these Cimarrons. This one is their V-nose profile. So, with this, I love this V-nose for a couple reasons. One, they pull unbelievably well. You add this V-nose with air ride and you are sometimes gonna forget you have this trailer on. But this V-nose doesn't come to this abrupt point, you know, basically where the coupler is itself. And when you do that, when you pinch that in, you actually lose some storage. So there's still a ton of storage in this. Cimarron noses are 8'2" long versus a lot of competitors will run like a 7.5, 7'8". I'll mention that again here in a second, but it gives you more storage. So this V-nose is unbelievable the way the trailer itself pulls. Now, this is a very well-equipped trailer. So underneath the gooseneck, we're gonna have a single leg equalizer jack, electric over hydraulic. This does have the manual override. So we can pump this on or off a truck in emergency situations. You know, battery gets low, something along those lines, so we can pump it on or off either way. This is a system we like to add to our trailers after the fact through our parts and service department. This is the one Cimarron uses. That's the one we use, and for those reasons itself. Customer traded in a trailer here recently, and she even mentioned, she looked over, checked out that pump to make sure it's there. She goes, oh good, that has that. So I kind of quizzed her. I said, well, why are you looking for that? And she said, well, on our old one, we went cheap and we went the version that didn't have that, and it burned them once. So she goes, I'm not doing that again. She says, I want to have that capability just in case. Spare tires located left of there. And then with it, you're going to get your aluminum battery box. We got a lot going on in here. First and foremost, over here on the right is going to be our onboard compressor for our air ride system itself. This is a really simple system to use. It's on off, it's lower raise. This one has an auto drain on it. Now, when you're pulling this trailer, whether you have horses on or not, turn the air ride on. This trailer is going to pull so much better by having that air ride. So we have some how-to videos on how to operate it and how to shut it down in a really condensed version that we can send to you to check out. We'll talk more about air ride as we walk through the trailer. To the left, you're going to have the 12-volt battery and then a battery disconnect. For a long time, we were putting battery disconnects on our trailers. Cimarron made it standard a couple years ago. The battery disconnect is nice because when I actually pulled this trailer up here, I turned it on, I turned the air on. Guess what? All the stall lights were on and the front tack room. So if you leave it like that, it's gonna drain this battery down. Now, if I turn it off, it kills all power. So when you park this trailer and walk away from it for, you know, a fair amount of time, or even overnight or a couple days, I mean, if you just park it and walk away and come back in 5 minutes, not a big deal. But over time, if you turn that guy to off, it'll kill all that power, so it's not draining this battery down. Now, with that being said, you're gonna notice this black box right here. That is a RedArc charger. That is a true 3-staging charger. We have been putting it on some trailers for quite some time. Shortly after the 25 models came out, Cimarron started adding that too as a standard package with this hydraulic jack setup, because it does multiple things. It's going to keep this battery nice and charged up, because our truck would always work as a trickle charger, but very slow charging this battery when we're plugged into the 7-pin. This RedArc charger I even talked to a RedArc rep, and he loved my term of it's a supercharger for this battery. So it'll really keep this battery nice and topped off, giving a lot more life and longevity. The other thing too is it'll tell us when we plug into a truck if we have 12-volt power coming from that truck to truly charge that, run lights, those type of items throughout the trailer. So it's a good tester for us to be able to literally just plug it into your truck and say, yep, we've got 12-volt power, or we do not. And it's isolated. We know it's the power source from the truck. So then we can go from there. Up here is going to be our switch for that jack. It's got a key in it, so you can take that out. But boy, is this nice to be able to push a button up and down this trailer goes. You know, if you have somebody helping you back up, maybe you got a youngster with you that's guiding you back, and instead of hand cranking, they just push a button and drop it down, it goes. I don't know, I'm at the point now where I'm over hand crank jacks. Give me a hydraulic jack all day long. So on this is the wraparound style nose. So if we can even glance over to a couple of these other Cimarrons behind us here, those are the VP style noses versus this wraparound. So this wraparound style is a much sleeker look in my opinion. With that being said, we went ahead, this gooseneck drop wall, which is standard 50, we made it 53. One, we went taller, right? We went from 7.1 standard to 7.4 tall on this guy. So we already gained 3 inches of height, but we're gonna take 3 inches out of here, which allows us to hook this on to any brand new pickup. You know, Fords and Rams have had taller beds. GM changed their body style a couple years ago. Their truck beds got taller. We want these trailers running level, but we want bed clearance. Now, it is a case-by-case basis. Those trailers you noticed in the background, those are all gonna have 53-inch gooseneck drops. So again, making the trailer run level, plenty of bed clearance. Granted, this one's taller, it has air ride. Probably wasn't 100% necessary, but that's how we like to order a lot of these trailers, so we can go ahead and make sure this trailer has that bed clearance so we're not tearing up the bed on your brand new truck. This is white sheeted. White is standard. You know, silver is silver metallic, charcoal metallic, black. Those are popular options there. You know, really, there's an upcharge when you go to those. Custom colors could be done, or graphics can be done on these trailers as well. We've got a sister company. We can match your truck. We can do, you know, brands. We can do farm logos. We can do about anything if you want to go that route. Now, this is where this trailer is really getting more unique. This one here, again, that big front tack room, but as you can see over here on passenger side, we have this side ramp. So really easy to get in and out of this trailer, and bringing items into this nice big front tack room. So let's just start over here on the partition wall. Partition wall has this gray rubber floor mat. It's going to be on the floor as well, but this stuff is really durable. Instead of carpet, not a fan of rubber mats. This stuff is sealed on the side, so it's cut to fit and sealed. This stuff holds up extremely well. You're going to notice that you have these are aluminum powder coated bridle hooks. So we have a set over here, high and low. We've got another set low over here. And then directly above it is going to be an 18-inch deep shelf with a close rod. This one here has got the roof support, so this guy's good and stout. You can throw some items up there. That 2-inch lip's going to hold items from shifting and trying to come off of this shelf itself. But great storage, great place to hang, you know, hanging clothes, garment bags, those type of items that aren't taking up space in the truck. Maybe you're showing off the trailer, you can hop in here, change into a show shirt, and off you go. The other thing that is on this partition wall is a pass-through door. So you've got the capability to hop into that stall area if need be, or come in to the tack room from there as well. The last piece back here is going to be this corner water tank, and that is tucked back in that corner there. It's wasted space, so that's a 25-gallon gravity feed, fill from the top, you know, drain from the bottom. There's a hose, put a ball valve on that hose. You can fill your buckets up right here or outside. That way you're not having to go find a hydrant, pack buckets a long ways. Hot summer months, it's nice to have water on board. You have a horse that only likes water from home. All the scenarios, you've got it right there on this trailer. Now as we transition on the gooseneck drop wall, carpet on the deck as well, and then you're gonna have an 18-inch boot box that's carpeted as well. This is a great bench for you to sit on, a step to hop up into the gooseneck, catch-all for some smaller items. The 18-inch deep, I'm more of a fan of than the 12s because of the framework on top. You can actually set a big bucket in this boot box right here. Now, we want to be able to, you know, secure items up in this nose. Again, there's a good look at it. So it's 8'2" long. You know, that V nose doesn't come to the abrupt point. So there's still a ton of storage up there. Not to say you still can throw, you know, a bedroll, a sleeping bag, you know, spend the night in there. Look, there's enough room in this that if there's a couple of you that need to sleep in there, as long as you get along, there's plenty of room. You know, if it's you and a couple kids, there's still a lot of room there. So again, you've got that capability to actually stay in this if need be. But if you're throwing items up there and you're worrying about them shifting, we put this bar across here. We normally do a 4-inch tube that goes across, but because of these saddle racks and blanket bars that I'll show you here in a minute, you know, it only made sense to go ahead and we asked them for a telescoping bar that goes across. So again, if I'm sliding items, I can still do that, still access it, not having to remove the whole tube itself, but boy, is that nice to be able to get out of the way. And then as we transition over, we have 2 removable posts right here. So first is the saddle racks. So we have 4 on this post. These are all adjustable. So you can loosen up the nuts, slide them where you want, tighten them. So if you wanted to add more, you could because of the height of this trailer. You want to space them, take them out, completely remove the post, you can do that. Then from there over to the right of that is going to be our blanket poles. So 4 of those guys, same concept. We can adjust them, we can add, we can subtract, we can move it, you know, completely remove it from the trailer, whatever we want. What's nice is we can give specific, you know, we wanted 8 inches directly from the wall to the start of these guys. That's how specific and, you know, detailed we can get on these Cimarron build trailers if we're custom building you something. We put carpet on this wall over here. You're going to notice an LED light up there. We tried to incorporate lights kind of throughout the trailer. These OptiBrite lights put off a lot of light. Not a big power draw. We've got one above the man door coming in, one over here on passenger side, and then one up in the nose. And the other thing you're going to notice up in that nose is a clothes bar. So if you have additional clothes, there's another bar up there. So if you're, you know, really traveling, you know, going to be gone for a long amount of time, need to take a lot of stuff with you, you've got an extra clothes bar there. And then you're going to have a vent. This is a manual crank, kind of a camper style. Look, if you wanted to add a 12-volt fan to this, the framing is the exact same. You have 12-volt power because it's got a 12-volt battery on it. And then if you wanted to take a step further and add an air conditioner, that is again the same footprint from the framework for those guys. Now you'd have to add a 30-amp package. You know, you'd have to add a few more things to it to go that route, but all that's already done and ready for you. We'll show you the man door when we get to the driver's side of this trailer. But as we come out, one thing is I've got this trailer aired up. Now I do recommend that when you're loading, unloading horses, loading, unloading tack, to air it down because it actually drops this trailer about 2.5 inches. So everything's lower to the ground. Your steps getting into the tack room are, these ramps aren't as steep, but this ramp is actually pretty decent. Just because of the height of the trailer, this ramp actually, you know, extends farther out. So it's not terrible, but I do like to go ahead and lower it. Again, loading horses, unloading horses, same with tack, because again, it just gets everything lower. The ramps aren't as steep. Now you're gonna notice we added a few button lights to this guy on the top rail. It really dresses this trailer up. You're gonna have some load lights out here. So 2 load lights, kind of stall 1, stall 4. They shoot down and out. You have a ton of light coverage out here if you're actually loading and unloading. The other thing about having those dual entries going into that tack room is you can work off of both sides of the trailer, which is fantastic, because if not, somebody's tying their horses on driver's side and you got to haul saddles all the way around, where in that instance they can go right off the side of the trailer. We went for the drop down windows on butt side on this one rather than bus windows. You still have the bus windows within them, but you want to talk about airflow. You live down somewhere south where it's hot and humid and you need airflow, this trailer's got it. So that's definitely a nice upgrade there. Again, if you need to manipulate air and shut it up a little bit more and just open bus windows, you've got that capability there. Amber turn signal. This isn't a huge trailer, but this is a trailer we really like. You know, these bigger trailers, wider trailers, we like this amber turn signal because it's a small upgrade. But what it does is it works as an awesome marker light for you because it's big. You're gonna see it. It also will indicate when you have your blinkers on and when you hit your brakes, so people can pay attention a little bit more to you. Obviously, you have your tail lights at the back of the trailer, but now centered in the trailer as well to have that. Now, this guy here has two 7,000-pound axles, electric brakes, 17.5-inch SRW mod aluminum wheels, and 18-ply Continental tires. You have awesome running gear underneath this. This is Dexter's Airflex system. We mentioned this guy has air ride. And again, it picks it up about 2.5 inches. So when we dump it, it lowers it, again, making everything closer to the ground. But this air ride system, the most common response we'll get from a customer that owns an air ride trailer that they purchase from us is, I will never own another trailer without air ride. They love the way it pulls. They love what it does for their horses. We've heard people say they can take a full day off of long travel if they're traveling to an event for recovery time. Horses step off the trailer fresher. We'll never be able to pinpoint and really put a dollar amount to it, but I know it's gonna help just from sheer standpoint of vet bills. I mean, roads are rough, trailers are rough. If you ever, you're not supposed to, but some people have hopped in just to see what the ride's like. It is rough. We have video of some horses in a trailer with air ride, and then when we dump it and it's running on those rubber torsion axles with those shocks, and the horses are completely different. I mean, it's a 180 from how relaxed they are with air ride, how calm, how square standing underneath themselves, to completely spread out, ears pinned, kicking the you-know-what out of the tail side hip wall. Totally different. You do that for 5-6 hours, you're exhausted. So we're giving them an unbelievable ride. So yes, it is an investment, but you start factoring all that in there. We want them to either go compete at the highest level, we want them to ride nice and safe and sound and comfortably, go with the air ride. Again, with the 18-ply tires, you're getting a really heavy-duty tire underneath it. And then again, those aluminum wheels, you know, just really set the trailer off, you know, just making it a really sharp-looking trailer itself. Now, as we get to the back of this trailer, with it being 7.6 wide, so extra wide, there is double doors. And they're 50/50s. Now, on the standard width, 6'10 wide, you're getting the double doors, but you have the 60/40 setup. But on this instance, when you go wider, you get 50/50. So as you can see, this one does have a ramp over. Look, if you don't need the rear ramp, that can be removed and a rubber bumper can be put there. But this is a fantastic setup because if your horses prefer a ramp load, you want to haul some toys, I'll show you, you've got the ramp that you can load those right onto this trailer. On the doors, you have kick mat and then windows at the back. So again, more airflow. We can create a vacuum through here. That's a nice feature there to have those windows in the back. They're independent doors. You can close one or the other. It doesn't matter what order they go in. You're gonna notice on the top rail, you got a couple 8-inch awning lights, load lights there. So they're gonna shoot down and out. And then that last piece you're gonna notice on the top of that trailer is, well, you're purchasing the fastest trailer on the market. This thing's got a spoiler on it. So how cool is that? We joke that they're the fastest trailers on the market, but really it does have some benefit from the standpoint of, if you live down dirt roads, gravel roads, you know that the back of your vehicle, whether it's a truck, a passenger, you know, car, whatever, the back bumper, the back of it's covered in a real fine dust. That's because air swirls at the back of vehicles. And in this instance, with windows at the back, if those are open, that dust is actually going to want to suck into the trailer itself as well. So now we have horses breathing that really fine dust. We don't want respiratory issues. Let's try to avoid that. So that spoiler actually forces the air down and away from the trailer. Our GM runs a snowmobile trailer, and when he goes up in the wintertime, next winter I will have him get us a picture of it. But he says the back of his trailer is almost spotless, to where all the others are covered in ice and snow and mag chloride and because again, it accumulates at the back of the trailer. So again, it forces it down and away from the trailer. Now, big butt strap that goes across, and snap it out of the way. As you can see, airflow dividers, more airflow. We've talked about that. You need something with air movement, keeping horses nice, comfortable. This trailer has got it. Padded dividers. And then if you notice, the very first one is a stud divider and then extended over the hip. So if you don't necessarily are hauling 4 head of horses and you want to pile a bunch of feed, bedding, other items, you can stack them almost to the ceiling on this guy and don't have to worry about it, you know, shifting as you're traveling. But if you need to separate somebody, you've got that capability with the stud divider itself. Now this trailer's tipped towards passenger side. So this first divider, because it's stud and extended, it's got a lot of material there. So as you can see, it's wanting to kind of come off the wall where the partials are somewhat against the wall but coming off. You level this trailer up and they'll work their way over to the side of the trailer. So one-handed operation's really key. Loading, unloading, be able to open the dividers, still have a lead rope in your hand, get them out of the way, close them. Again, one-handed operation is what Cimarron strives for. So speaking of, you get these recessed paddle latches with a heavy UHMW plastic paddle latch. So when we shut these, we don't have metal-to-metal contact, creating a lot of rattle and noise in these themselves. Really easy to operate. You can just slam them shut. Again, when we go to shut it and release, very simple. You're gonna notice a little bit of wheel well, because again, it is 7.6 wide, so we pushed the box out a little bit. So you're gonna have a little bit of wheel well, kick mat, but as you start putting your hands on everything in the stall area, you're gonna notice everything has a radius. So it's gonna keep horses, you know, safe. We don't want 90 degrees, we don't want sharp edges. Everything is animal safety first and foremost. More of those OptiBright lights. You have 4 of them, 1 in each stall. So you want to talk about plenty of light, you got it in this guy. Stall lights, load lights are all on individual switches. So I can turn all my stalls on without turning my load lights on. I can put on passenger load lights without anything. But again, you can manipulate, you know, the lighting that you want itself. 4 roof vents, 1 above each horse, 2-way. So again, manipulating airflow. So as you can see, airflow dividers, drop windows, vents. I'll show you the drop down feed windows here in a minute, but airflow is really key. And when you top it off with the Cimarron, you're going to get this insulated roof. This is the standard roof. So all those trailers you saw in the background, this one, the living quarters behind us, they all have the exact same roof. That's just how Cimarron builds them. So it's a 1/2 inch thick reinforced honeycomb design, gel coating on top, R3 thermal value, but that honeycomb design gives so much strength. It'll take 150 pounds per square foot. So this will take substantial hail. More importantly, in my opinion, is it keeps the stall area 20% cooler than aluminum sheeted roofs. Again, keeping horses comfortable. Air ride, a lot of airflow, insulated roof. I mean, what else can you do to help them out to travel comfortably? Now this back stall is even bigger. We actually put a little bit more length in the back stall. That way this divider can stay solid. We don't have to do a telescoping. Sometimes a circumstance asks for a telescoping divider, but in this instance, we'd rather put a little bit more length back here so it can go against the wall and we don't have to telescope anything down. It stays solid. Now, this back stall is gonna accommodate. I mean, you could potentially put 5 head of horses on this guy. A couple small ones, maybe you got a companion, maybe you got a mare and foal. You can throw them back here in this back stall and back corner, and there's a lot of room right there. Now, if you look at the floor, you have Werm flooring, so no rubber mat on this. With this Werm flooring, you don't have to pull the mats out. You don't have to wrestle those guys to clean it out. You just muck it out, nose it up a little bit, power wash it out, and you're in business. So it's going to protect the floor, you know, over the life of this trailer. And underneath there is going to be the industry's best floor. It's an interlocking 12-inch deck. The most important piece of it is 4-inch centers. So when I talk about 4-inch centers, if you look underneath the trailer, they're the beams that run across the full length. But wherever you have a horse standing, they're going to stand on one of those beams, if not 2 of them. You know, picture hoof size, they're always standing on that. So other trailers will spread theirs out, and that's where your pits start to happen. Urine can start to collect, corrode, you know, not as stout of a floor. So you have the industry's best floor when you're standing on a Cimarron. As you can see, we've been walking through this trailer and I really haven't found anything, you know, glaring to jump out and show you as far as, you know, its actual use as far as being a demo. So again, there's going to be some savings for you on a lightly used, but it will be new because you're going to get your new warranty from the date you purchase it. I'm going to get these doors out of the way. You're going to notice these marker lights have a white X in them. And what that is actually a backup light built into them. So when you throw this guy in reverse, those guys will come on and give you some nice light coverage at the back of the trailer. So when you're pulling into unfamiliar places, home at, you know, late at night, you need some light coverage, you've got it. And then there's the ramp over that shuts over the back of the trailer itself. Again, those light switches, they're all right here. So again, individual. Now, driver's side, there's a good look at those drop windows with jail bars. So these drop down feed doors, look at the framework. That is all framework around the actual bus window itself. You want to talk about big and stout. These guys are it. You're going to open and close these every time you use this trailer. You can drop down the jail bar extremely easy. If you need to access anything in the stall, offer them some feed, some water, whatever you need to. Everything is key to like. So these latches on these drop down feed doors, the back doors, the tack doors, the ramp, everything has one key. These are welded hinges with grease zerks as well, so a lot easier to maintain. If you get a squeaky or stiff hinge, you can actually grease it yourself. This drop down feed door in the escape door is gonna be a little bit smaller because again, we've got the framework of the door itself, but then you've got that access into that first stall from outside of the trailer as well, and then a chest bar that goes across there. The other thing about this air ride system is if something happens to that compressor or line of bag, it sets down on those rubber torsion axles like I mentioned, and that shock kit, and you can still move the trailer. You're not stuck. The old systems, you couldn't move the trailer. So definitely a lot, you know, improvement over the years. This system, the Dexter's had from Airflex, has been around, I think, since 2010, 2011. So, I mean, we've got a ton of these air ride trailers out there on the road, and customers are so happy with them and so just pleased at how well they pull. On the door, set of bridle hooks here, brush tray on the doors so you can throw some smaller miscellaneous items in there. Maybe it's hoof picks, brushes, fly sprays, about anything you need. And then it's also gonna have a combo lock on the door. So we can actually, as long as I don't lock this latch, I can actually just turn this knob, punch in a code, and get in and out of this trailer. That easy. Fold up step to get in there. With it being 7.6 wide, you have a little bit of a running board, but it's also a big step getting in there. So we try to put these fold up steps going into these tack rooms, just making the transition so much easier. Again, if you lower it, it's closer to the ground. And then the last thing, up on the top rail, there's your load lights up there with those button lights. You can probably see them in the shade a little bit better over here. But again, what a really well-equipped 4-horse gooseneck with air ride, a lot of extras on this guy, and a big tack room as well. So I'm gonna give you the stock number for reference. Again, it's a 2025 Cimarron Norstar air ride, 5N240694. We do take trade-ins, so if you're looking to upgrade or downsize, we can help you there. Delivery is an option, so we can potentially bring it to your door, and financing is available as well. So give us a call. Anybody on the sales team can help you out. That number is 303-684-3400. Appreciate you tuning in. Have a good day.